Hi everyone, my name's Steve Trotter and I'm Careers Hub Operations Lead for the Careers and Enterprise Company here in Hertfordshire, and I work for Hertfordshire LEP. Welcome to our Enterprise Adviser Induction. Thank you for joining us. What we're doing now is we're making this available on YouTube for you guys to watch in your own time, but we also run Enterprise Adviser Inductions live. So if you'd like to come along to one and meet some other peers, other enterprise advisors here in Hertfordshire, then please do let your enterprise coordinator know and we can get you along to one of those. So today we're going to talk to you a little bit about what we do, and then we're going to go through some really useful resources, including things like the Gatsby benchmarks, the role of the enterprise advisor, what the role of the careers advisor is like, and some useful resources to help you along the way. We at the Careers and Enterprise Company, working through Hertfordshire LEP here in Hertfordshire, have a mission to inspire and support young people in the transition into the fast-changing world of work. The main aim is to strengthen the links between education and employment, raise the profile of quality careers education here in Hertfordshire by backing the 8 Gatsby benchmarks, and there'll be more about those a little bit later, and raise the aspirations among young people by helping every young person find their next best step, which we know is different for every young person. We're really happy to have you guys involved as enterprise advisors to support young people here in Hertfordshire and also get access to your early talent pipelines. So a little bit more detail as to what we'll cover. I'll go into a bit more detail about the history of the Careers and Enterprise Company, the role of the enterprise advisor and careers leader, go through in a bit more detail the 8 Gatsby benchmarks, and they've got nothing to do with the Great Gatsby. We'll also talk a little bit about how schools audit towards the benchmarks using something called Compass or Compass Plus. We'll see how Hertfordshire is doing performance-wise compared to the rest of the country. And we'll look at local labour market information, Hertfordshire Opportunities Portal and resources to help you. So our role is to build networks by supporting the careers leader in school, the main person in charge of the whole careers programme, and depending on what year groups your school has, that could be year 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13, by backing the Gatsby benchmarks. That careers leader has the sort of the overall view of how the school's doing, what their strengths are, what the areas for development are, and they're some of the things that you can talk about in the meetings with the school, and use your own business networks to help support that school meet the benchmarks, as well as the colleges as well. So the Careers and Enterprise Company, we've been around since 2015. A former Hertfordshire head, Professor Sir John Holman, did some research for the Gatsby Charitable Foundation, and he looked at what are the best parts of careers around the world and then brought this melting pot together called the Gatsby benchmarks of good careers guidance, which we'll cover a little bit later in today's video. And then how that's adapted over time is schools work towards the 8 Gatsby benchmarks. They can get anywhere between 0 and 100% for each benchmark. And the reason behind that is to make sure that there's a quality programme going on in each school or college for every year group present in that education establishment. What that's trying to do is find the next best step for every young person. Because of the pandemic and Brexit and various other things, young people face a bit of an uncertain future at the moment and difficulties around access to careers guidance around the country is not evenly spread. So when you're in post and you've trained up, we hope that you would support schools and colleges to deliver careers excellence by you supporting them with purpose and helping to include all young people in careers education in the school or college that you support. In Hertfordshire, we've been really fortunate to have something called a Careers Hub, which is a group of schools, colleges, employers and training providers and education providers all working together to improve careers practice. We meet and have workshops. We also meet and network a few times a year. And then myself, the Careers Hub lead, oversees this work and targets that alongside my manager, Gareth Dace. So here in Hertfordshire, we had a Careers Hub start in 2019. That covered Stevenage, North Hart, Swelling and Hatfield. That went really well, so we were able to expand the Careers Hub in 2020 to include Watford, Three Rivers and Hertsmere as well. And then last September, St Albans, Dacorum, Broxbourne and East Hertfordshire came on board. So we were able to get whole Hertfordshire Careers Hub coverage a year or two ahead of the rest of the country overall. So that's really, really good. We've obviously been looking at the Gatsby benchmarks now for about 6-7 years. And what we're moving into now is having some coordinated actions so that there's a little bit more impact coming out of the system. So we're amplifying technical and vocational routes by making students and parents and teachers a bit more aware of apprenticeships and T-levels. The self-improving system is still there. That's the Gatsby benchmarks, and each of the schools working towards those. Effective transitions is around each student having a good transition into their next best step, whether that be at the end of year 11 or the end of year 13. And we've got a small project running in Hatfield, North Herts and Stevenage to support some free school meal students around that. We've got removing barriers, which is a piece of research we're doing this year to find out what are the main barriers that students are facing, including things like mental health and depression and other things around that. So that's something that would be interesting for you to find out a little bit when you meet with schools. We're also building leaders for the system. So we've got some bursaries to enable the careers leaders in school to get a level 6 qualification in careers leadership. And the main reason for what we do is to put young people front and centre, help them to become part of the economic recovery by investing in future skills and building those long-term, sustainable, mutually beneficial partnerships between schools, colleges and employers. So here is our Chief Executive, Ollie de Botton, and he's going to talk through a little bit more around what similar things that I've just said. So I'm just going to share a different screen and showcase what Ollie has to say.
Hello, my name is Ollie de Botton and I'm the Chief Executive of the Careers and Enterprise Company. I just wanted to share with you some information about our mission, our vision and our priorities. We have been governed by the careers strategy, the government's careers strategy that has just come to an end. And in a way it's been replaced by the FE and Skills bill, which is going through Parliament at the moment, which seeks to put skills at the heart of the education system. We're also governed by the statutory guidance around careers, and we feel very privileged to be part of the system going forward. So that governs our work, but within that we've got a mission, we've got a vision, and we've got some priorities. So our mission, which I hope we share with you, is to help every young person find their best next step. And we know that the best next step is not the same for every young person, which is why it's absolutely fantastic that we've got FE, independent training providers and apprenticeship providers as part of our network, so we can give young people access to all the options. We know that some young people face difficulties finding their best next step, and that careers education has a role to play in removing barriers where we find them. We also know that what we experience influences where we go, which is why we place such an emphasis on employers getting involved in careers education, helping young people, inspiring young people about what's to come, including the routes in. So these assumptions lead us to a vision. We want modern, high quality 21st century careers education for everyone, everywhere. And how are we going to do that? We want to support schools and colleges as much as possible to deliver brilliant careers education. We want to support employers to engage in education with purpose and for the long term. And we want to include every young person in careers education, regardless of their starting point or circumstance. So what are our priorities for this year? Well, there are three. The first one is we want as much impact as possible in the system. And what does that mean? That means amplifying those high quality technical and vocational routes, including apprenticeships. It means listening to the voice of young people to make sure the inputs that we're putting in have the right impact on them. And it means using some of our digital tools, particularly Compass Plus, that will allow us to track what intervention is having what impact. Our second priority is making sure we include all young people in careers education, working to remove barriers. What does that mean? It means connecting employers to education and educational institutions that need them most. It means having a focus on those key transition points where we know that sometimes talent can be lost. And our third priority is making sure the system is set up for the long term. And that means one thing: focus on leadership. So we'll continue to train those careers leaders with tools and techniques to support their careers programmes, and we'll continue to seek to raise their profile and status in the profession. We'll provide additional support for governors, head teachers, college principals to support the system. But we'll also make sure that discussions about economic growth are also discussions about careers education, putting careers education front and centre of the economic debate. So in short, we want to have a high impact system, we want to include every young person, and we want to focus on leadership. Maybe that is simple, but we think that's the right approach for this academic year as we seek to welcome young people back to schools and I guess in the normal way. So that's what we're about. So please get in touch if you're interested in working with us and helping us help every young person find their best next step.
So it's great to hear from Ollie there and talking around some of the themes that I've mentioned. Another reason why this work is so critical, there's a report that the Careers and Enterprise Company ran at the end of 2021, and it showed that careers education has become more prominent in the curriculum within the last year within the pandemic. Innovation has helped young people engage more with employers through things like virtual work experience. There was information about apprenticeships in the education system, and this has really moved on in the last few years, but then there's more work to do with the conversion rate. So here in Hertfordshire, about 80% of young people are interested in an apprenticeship. Around 20% apply to an apprenticeship and only about 5% start. So there's a bit of work to do around the conversion rate, and we think that there's probably some work to do with informing parents and teachers. The work with the students has been going really well for the last few years, and that's probably the next steps now, is to maintain that but move towards more work with the parents and the teachers. There's an increased focus on individuals and their context through personal guidance. There's been more personal guidance where students can have a one-to-one appointment to talk around their steps and what their pathways might be. And there's been more collaboration with things like this careers hub that we have here in Hertfordshire, and there's evidence to show that improving careers provision leads to better outcomes for young people, less of them becoming unemployed, or what is known as NEET. And that's further backed up by research that shows that if a young person has 4 or more encounters with an employer while they're at school, they're 18% less likely to become NEET, and they're also likely to earn more money as well. So what we're looking to do here is try and get employers meeting young people in each year group, so year 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13, through things like careers fairs, mock assessment centres, mock interviews, visits, work shadowing, work experience, etc. So there's some great things that you guys can get involved in coming into this, but also opening up to your network as well. So in Hertfordshire, we are the local enterprise partnership in partnership with Services for Young People running the Careers and Enterprise contract. Gareth Dace, bottom of the screen in the middle, is the Hertfordshire strategic lead. I am the Careers Hub operations lead, and then we have a team of Chris, Debbie, Shay, Leslie and Jackie, who've all got their own area of the county, and Jackie oversees all of the special schools here in Hertfordshire. So when you're an enterprise advisor, you'll be working closely with one of these enterprise coordinators with the school or college you're working with, and they'll provide you with support and access to things like our networking sessions and CPD, etc. This also runs well with some of the key themes of Hertfordshire's local enterprise partnership by unlocking emerging talent from young people. So with this piece of work, you're obviously getting more access to an individual school in detail, but also it opens you up to being able to contact bigger schools. So if you have things like apprenticeships pipelines, then it gives you access to a good early talent pool there. And it also helps us push through the Hertfordshire growth priority sectors. So as an enterprise advisor, you'll probably be a business professional who comes from industry. You might work for a large or a small organisation, may even be self-employed, but you're sort of dedicated to give something back to the community, to help young people's future outcomes, willing to volunteer a little bit of time. So that usually looks like maybe meeting with your school for an hour once every 8 to 10 weeks, either in person or over MS Teams. And then it could be coming to a few networking sessions a year to meet other enterprise advisors and other employers working with local schools. And then on top of that, we will be doing CPD workshops. So things like the EA induction, but also Gatsby benchmark workshops and sharing best practice. I'd like you to just take a bit of time, maybe pause the video and have a think about why you'd like to volunteer as Enterprise Advisor. Is it something that means that you can give back to your local community? Is it to give you a better understanding of the education sector? Or perhaps you've got your own children who are going through careers transitions at the moment and you're wanting to get more involved actively with your own organisation and build those working relationships with a school or college, or maybe it's about early talent pipelines or a combination of these. And while you think of those, here's a short video as well about that.
I talk to everybody about being an enterprise advisor because it's so fulfilling and you can make such a difference.
The idea of an EA is to come into the school and work potentially with the careers leader or maybe even the senior leadership team of the school.
When I go into schools, we meet regularly with teachers to create the strategy and development plans for the pupils.
Having a practical working knowledge of what the workforce is at the moment and what it requires helps enterprise advisors when we go into schools to bridge that skills gap that we see needed in the market and what the current educational system is providing young people with.
It helps fill the gaps between our profession and their teaching practice.
To position careers as a tool to add value and capacity to whole school improvement, and to ensure that careers is on par with other school and college priorities.
I think it's important that small businesses work with colleges to make sure that they understand their skills needs within the small business environment.
Being a small business owner, it helps me raise my profile and also have access and links into the local community in a way that I wouldn't have otherwise.
Lots of schools that I work with still don't have an EA, so the impact that you could make just by joining a school would be amazing.
You know every single day that you go in to support them that you're creating and bringing relevant information to help them make their career decisions. And I love it.
Yeah, so really interested, and your Enterprise Coordinator will be really interested as to why you wanted to become an Enterprise Advisor. So please do share that with them and with Gareth and myself when we meet with you. What does an Enterprise Advisor do? Well, one of the main parts of the role is to champion careers, really, and get it embedded into the school's profile and being important by building that relationship with the senior leadership team within that school and the careers leader you're working with, as well as with the careers enterprise company or as the LEP. Connect your employers, either your fellow employees or employers you work with in business, your own networks, into the school to help enrich their careers program. Give that strategic input, bring in those business skills and those strategic skills from the workplace and linking them into the school to look at and critically assess their careers program, what they're doing well, what could they do better, softly challenging why they may be not doing something, say work experience. Being that business expert, so being able to talk about your own sector, maybe give a careers talk, or someone in your team from your early talent team maybe come in and talk about your own sector. Help the school evaluate those 8 Gatsby benchmarks and work towards achieving those. And once your relationship is built up, you can be that more critical friend and ask those challenging questions. What's the dropout rates like in your sixth form? Maybe we could do a little bit more work there around apprenticeships, etc. Delivery is not the key part of the role. It's more of a strategic role and the things that we've covered just now. But there are opportunities to do a little bit of delivery if you and the school are comfortable with that. So it could be things around mock interviews. It could be around giving an inspirational talk about the sector you work in, etc. A little bit of jargon in the education sector. And for those of you, if it's been a while since you've been involved in education, we've covered what the Careers Hub is around sharing best practice and bringing together the partnerships, the employers, the schools and the young people. But then there's other titles and jargon in there. So careers leader is the person overseeing the whole careers provision and programme for that school. The careers advisor is the person that's a qualified careers practitioner to have that one-to-one individual conversations about transitions and pathways with the students. You yourself as the enterprise advisor, the business volunteer helping the school build their careers programme, and then the cornerstone employer, some of the big Hertfordshire partners that will partner with and work with numerous schools. You'll have a relationship and a deeper relationship with one school, and they'll maybe look holistically at a bigger cluster or all of the schools. And we've got great organisations such as Tesco's, Roche, Morgan Sindall, Warner Brothers that get involved around that area, as well as many others. And then on the right hand side here, you've got young people front and centre. This is why everybody does all of this work, to help them find their next best step. We'll support the careers leader along with yourself to help them with their careers programme, help them with training, access to networking and best practice workshops. And then you as the enterprise advisor will be involved with your enterprise coordinator and the careers leader in that kind of partnership to help each other there. And then each term, every 3 months, you'll complete Compass together, which then gives you the overall picture, RAG rating, how the school's doing, what they're doing well, what they need to work towards, etc. So we've gone through a bit about the role of what an enterprise advisor does. I think it's quite important to get an understanding of what the life of a careers leader is like. Most careers leaders are very busy and they wear multiple hats in the school. They could quite often be a teacher, they might be an assistant teacher, they might have other hats that they wear, they might be head of pastoral care or head of child protection. So they'll have a lot of things that impacts on the amount of time they have, as well as careers being something really important to them. So there's not many full-time careers leaders who do this all day, every day, and have the time and the energy to get everything perfect. So it's great to have this supportive team of the enterprise coordinator and yourself, the enterprise advisor, to help the careers leader on their path to managing careers delivery in their school. The careers leader will take on the leadership role and looking at what the school's doing and having a plan of action and a vision to get there. They'll manage the careers programme, the teachers training, the outside careers advisor, maybe overlooking or helping with overseeing work experience as well as careers in the curriculum. They'll coordinate and put everything together, network with people like yourselves and other employers through the contacts that you can help them with. So it's quite a vast role. If we look at leadership, that could include the teachers, the administrators, linking in with the senior leadership team and the governors. It could be preparing a careers plan for the school and making sure that the school's compliant on everything statutory that they have to do around careers. They could be managing schemes of work for the PSHE programme, helping with CPD for the teachers and upskilling people, and linking in with the careers advisors as well, and overseeing the careers guidance for the school. How's it going? And the person that's delivering that careers guidance, linking in with them, as well as having overall budgeting for the careers programme. They'll be coordinating, so they'll be looking to experts like yourself to look at the local labour market. They'll be meeting with various different coordinators within the school and pulling the whole careers programme and PSHE programme together. They'll be networking with yourselves and then also pulling in other employers, apprenticeship providers, T-level providers, independent training providers, colleges, universities, to come in and give the most informed programme the school can possibly have for every young person. There's also other roles within the school. So you've got the careers leader themselves, but then you'll have the tutors that can do that kind of day-to-day check-in with students and do things in tutor time. Teachers who can bring careers into the curriculum, and then the senior leaders and the governors within the school that help drive the careers programme, as well as the careers leader. So just giving you a bit of an insight to the day-to-day there. It's a little bit of a complex beast, but most importantly, it's all about helping young people progress, be informed, and do the best they can in their future careers. This is typically how a programme might run in a school where you will meet with the careers leader. They may or may not be on the senior leadership team as, say, an assistant head. There'll be a link governor for careers, so it'd be good to find out who that is. Someone providing the careers advice, and then hopefully a careers administrator supporting all of those roles to drive things forward with parental emails and newsletters and things. So I've covered quite a lot there in the first 25 to 30 minutes. Probably good now for you to press pause, have a quick comfort break, go away, grab yourself a drink, and then come back and we'll go into some information around things like the Gatsby benchmarks and some useful resources for you. So just take a quick break and then we'll be back soon. So welcome back. Now we're going to talk about the 8 Gatsby benchmarks around good careers guidance. We're going to look at and talk a little bit around Gatsby benchmark 1 is a stable careers program, making sure something's happening in each year group. Gatsby benchmark 2 is about labour market information and providing students with what are growth sectors, what are areas that are growing in need and have skills gaps, which are sectors that are sort of declining, future pathways, what are things like T-levels, apprenticeships, etc. We've got addressing the need of each individual pupil, so making them aware of each different pathway from further education, higher education, apprenticeships, sixth form, college, etc. Linking curriculum learning to careers, so getting careers actually in the PSHE programme, linking subjects to careers, so linking, say, maths to careers in accounting or how maths is used in construction. Encounters with employers and employees is one where you guys can get quite heavily involved as an employer, and work experience. These are the two that are mainly around employers. Gatsby benchmark 7, encounters with further and higher education. So there's something called the Baker Clause or Access Clause that means that schools are required as a statutory duty to get further education providers, higher education providers to talk to their students, and apprenticeship providers, so that students have all of the options, including the sixth form. And that all-important personal guidance, so that careers advisor that can talk to students maybe around year 9 when they're picking their GCSE options, year 11 as they're about to transition either into college, college, sixth form, or an apprenticeship, or again at year 13 when they're at that similar transition point. So I'm going to show you a quick video. You may recognise someone in there looking a bit younger pre-pandemic, quite a few years ago, but this just gives a nice quick insight to what the Gatsby benchmarks are. Hi, I'm Steve.
Hi, I'm Sarah and welcome to video 2 about the Gatsby benchmarks.
In 2014, Lord Sainsbury's Gatsby Charitable Foundation published a report by Professor Sir John Holman, Advisor in Education at the Gatsby Foundation. This was titled Good Career Guidance.
The report identified 8 benchmarks that are the core dimensions of good careers and enterprise provision in schools.
Gatsby Benchmark 1, a stable careers programme. Gatsby Benchmark 2, learning from career and labour market information.
3. Addressing the needs of each pupil. 4. Linking curriculum learning to careers. 5. Encounters with employers and employees. 6. Experiences of workplaces.
Gatsby Benchmark 7, encounters with further and higher education. And Gatsby Benchmark 8, personal guidance. Good career guidance and further resources can be downloaded from the Gatsby website. Please click below.
Here in the UK, the Careers and Enterprise Company are the main driver for this work. They aim to inspire and prepare young people for the fast-changing world of work. They have a national network that connects schools, colleges, employers and careers programme providers to create strategic, high-impact careers opportunities for young people.
To help schools meet the Gatsby benchmarks, the Careers and Enterprise Company have developed the Compass online evaluation tool to evaluate their school or college's careers activities in around 30 minutes. This is mapped to the Gatsby benchmarks and identifies strengths and areas for improvement.
Once complete, the schools or colleges can then use the online tracker to build, manage and develop their plan to help improve their provision and benchmark scores.
Good luck with meeting the Gatsby benchmarks, and please click below to find other videos and further information to help you. Thank you.
So that was a bit more information around the Gatsby benchmarks, and how each school assesses how they're doing against the Gatsby benchmarks is using the digital tools. So they use Compass or Compass Plus. This takes around 20 to 30 minutes, and they do this each term. In an ideal world, it's great to do this either face-to-face or over an MS Teams meeting, and have the careers leader, the enterprise advisor and the enterprise coordinator present. So then you all know what the school's doing well and what those areas of development are. If it's not possible to get everybody together, then it's great to look at the end report and again go through the strengths and areas for development. If you ask your enterprise coordinator, they'll be able to give you the most up-to-date version of your school's Compass report, so that you're then able to see where their strengths are and their areas of development and inform your meetings with the school. So nationally, we're now up to nearer to 4,400 schools and colleges and around 4,000 enterprise advisors in the network in England. And then in Hertfordshire, we've got 110 schools with around 122 enterprise advisors. We've got an average benchmark score of just over 5 benchmarks out of 8, which compares to the national average of 3.5 out of 8 for those that have got careers hubs. The average is 4.4 benchmarks out of 8. So you can see we're ahead of the curve, but we've still got a way to go to get up to 8 benchmarks, which is why we need your help and support. This is further broken down into the different clusters within the county. So depending on which school or college you're matched with and where they are based in the county, you can see on the screen how each cluster is faring as well. And then when you go in and meet with your school or college for the first time, it's interesting to see how they're doing compared to the county part that they're in, and then nationally as well. So just some information on some statistics there, but then have a look at your school's Compass report and see how they're doing in comparison. So with the help of your enterprise coordinator and the support that they'll give you, you will also help and support and collaborate with the careers leader to help make careers relevant in the school or college you're supporting, audit their careers programme using that Compass evaluation we've just gone through, track and record how each individual student is doing when they have careers related activities, what the impact of those are, what's the evaluation of those, is it worth running them again next year, trying some new activities, engage the senior leadership team and the link governor, maybe get the link governor along once or twice a year to the meetings, measure impact, see how things are going when something's run and what's the impact of it, case studies. Your enterprise coordinator will help map and signpost the careers leader and yourself to resources and training and provide that CPD. The main aim here is to secure time for careers through the employer engagement that you can offer, either yourself individually or through your networks or your own organisation. So pre-COVID, we always met face-to-face every 8 to 10 weeks. This is now, like everyone, become a bit of a hybrid, where sometimes we meet face-to-face in the school. There may be opportunities to have meetings at your own premises if that's something that interests you, as well as the online Zoom or MS Teams meetings. And building that relationship with the careers leader and looking at holistically at their programme and working out what their main priorities are for the Gatsby benchmarks. To help you along your way, a couple of slides where it's got either ideas or questions that you could ask in some of those early meetings, or things you'd like to get some answers for when talking either to your enterprise coordinator or the careers leader direct. So interesting to know what the whole school's approach is for careers. Have they got stuff going on in each year group? Have they got a link governor for careers? How do they do careers in that institution? Do they have something going on in each year group? Do they do work experience? Do they not do work experience? Do they provide apprenticeship information? Get your careers leader to sort of walk you through the typical careers programme or have a look at that overview of the programme. Is there anyone else that supports the careers leader? So have they got good senior leadership buy-in? Or have they got a small careers team where they've got careers champions in each curriculum department? What's the destinations data like for schools? Schools get measured on the percentage of how many students stay on into the sixth form, how many go to higher education, college, apprenticeships, and then they're looking to make sure that there's none or as little as possible NEET, not in employment, education and training. So sometimes it's interesting after a couple of meetings to look at that destinations data, and you might see that they don't get many students into apprenticeships, so that maybe that could be something that the school works on, for example. Another good time to grab yourself a cuppa and have a bit of a reflection and pause the video. Think about what type of enterprise advisor you think you are. Obviously, this doesn't fit everybody, and often people are a sort of a mash of a few of these together. But are you a local business champion? Someone that's really well networked with the local organisations to you? Are you an employer-specific ambassador? Somebody that's really, or even a sector-specific ambassador, someone that's really keyed up on things to do with what your sector is about. Say you work for an engineering company or you work in a pharmaceutical company, having that specific knowledge is great to share with your school or college. Depending on your role, are you maybe an employment and recruitment expert, either because you're in a HR capacity yourself, early talent, or just you're a senior leader and you do a lot of recruiting yourselves and interviewing. Schools are always on the lookout for things like how to best prepare an application form, a CV, get their sixth formers keyed up on LinkedIn, and then things like mock assessment centres, mock interviews. Or are you a strategist? Could you help the school or college with their careers vision and their careers plan? Or do you maybe know some former students for the school or college you're working with? Could you be that alumni enabler? Or have you got capacity where you can offer some operational support, or other people in your organisation can? So have a think about what type of EA you are. And again, when you're having those conversations with your careers leader or with your enterprise coordinator, put ahead what kind of enterprise advisor you are, because then they know how they can make use of your skills. We're really, really fortunate in Hertfordshire to have a real depth of resources to help you in your role as an enterprise advisor, but also the careers leaders in school. So we've got this amazing resource, you may or may not have heard of it already, called HOP, Hertfordshire Opportunities Portal. There's a one-stop shop for everything careers here in Hertfordshire. So you can job hunt on here, look for apprenticeships, look for training. And we've got employer spotlights, so and provide a showcase. So your own organisation, you could have your careers page linked on here for all Hertfordshire residents for free. And we've also got sections on here for careers leaders, and we've got virtual employer encounters for the students, information on growth sectors, lesson plans for the teachers to use around careers, and so many other things. So these are the virtual employer encounters. Gareth, our manager, runs these every Thursday. So if your organisation would like to do a talk en masse to all of the Hertfordshire schools on a particular sector, we're now up to about 50 sectors that have been showcased here in Hertfordshire. So it works really well if you've got someone like in an early talent capacity and maybe a current apprentice, to have a Q&A session to talk a little bit about your own organisation and how you can support and how you recruit young people, but then questions live from students around the county. This is then put up on our YouTube channel and students can watch it afterwards as well. We've got some great growth sector videos. These are the most important growth sectors here in Hertfordshire, with a couple others emerging shortly. And what we've done here is we've got young people from Elstree Studio Academy to film young people thriving in these growth sectors. So they've gone to school or university in Hertfordshire and they're now working in these growth sectors and doing really well. So it opens and inspires the eyes of young people about where they could go if they're not sure what they want to do. A growth sector will have a vast array of vacancies, and then seeing a young person just a few years older than them thriving in that environment in these nice relatable videos, great for assemblies and tutor time. We've got 6 free Hertfordshire Opportunity Portal lessons around things like labour market, work experience, skills, and those priority sectors as well. So just make a touch in with your careers leader to see if they're using those, particularly in things like National Apprenticeship and National Careers Week. There's also loads of great labour market information, posters, infographics on the growth sectors in Hertfordshire, average salaries, the biggest employers, what kind of qualifications people have in the different districts of the county, as well as the Hertfordshire Skills Framework. This is an incredible piece of work that was done with over 200 Hertfordshire employers, the University of Hertfordshire and Services for Young People, and it pulled out the main skills that employers are looking for from school leavers. And this is great to share with students, and there's even audits that they can do around their own skills. So say they're about to go on work experience, they could do a skills audit to see what they feel are their strengths and areas to develop, and then repeat it after they've been on work experience and hopefully see some of those skills bubbling up. There's also great uses of these skills framework. People are using them in the sixth form, and then other schools are using them in their reports. So students will get what their academic scores are, what their effort scores are, and then their skills score, what are their strengths and their skills to develop over the future. We're also really well supported by the Careers and Enterprise Head Office, and we've got a national resource directory. So there should never be an enterprise advisor or a careers leader thinking we're about to try and endeavour to do something. How do I start? If you go on the resource directory, more than likely there'll be something on there that you can use and adapt. So if your careers leader is looking to run a mock assessment centre or a mock interview day, there'll be resources on there to help them with this. If they're thinking about updating their whole careers programme or thinking about a new vision and strategy, there'll be resources on this to help them do this. So plenty of resources out there. There's also some further reading. In April 21, a white paper came out, Skills for Jobs, which is really relevant to the work we do. And there's also the updated statutory careers guidance from July 2021, which details what schools should and must do. We've also got a short careers leader course. So even though you're an enterprise advisor, you might just have an interest, and there's a 5 2-hour online modules that you can do around careers and careers leadership. Links to the statutory guidance, a short couple of page summary so that you're sort of up to speed with what schools should be doing and must be doing. And then if you need a little bit more information about the Gatsby benchmarks, when this recording is live on our YouTube channel, there'll also be a link to this slideshow. And if you click on the Gatsby benchmarks over here, you'll be able to read up a little bit more about them, or have this short 2 or 3 page frequently asked questions that gives you a little bit more detail about each of the Gatsby benchmarks in a nice digestible way. And then last year, there was a new CDI framework that came out. The Gatsby benchmarks have helped us organise careers delivery in England over the last sort of 6 or 7 years. They've been the skeleton, and now the CDI framework has given us the meat on the bones, telling us the learning outcomes. Nice 6 simple pillars. Anyone could relate to these of any age, around growing throughout life, looking at your strengths and areas for development, exploring possibilities, managing your career, learning and being resilient from setbacks, creating opportunities when you're in networking situations like careers fairs, work-life balance, and seeing the bigger picture. So this is great, and it's fantastic to see a lot of Hertfordshire schools starting to use this. But again, as you get to build that relationship, maybe talk to your school about them using this and using the Services for Young People free audit to help them put resources together for the CDI framework. A lot of schools use careers programs, so if you're interested to know a little bit more about them, you've got UniFrog, which helps students apply to university and apprenticeships, but also gives them lots of careers information, track what each of their students is doing careers wise and give them careers lessons, but there's a charge for that. You've got Inspiring the Future, which is good for setting up careers talks and careers events where you can appeal to their tens of thousands of volunteers to help support you in that school. And there's lots of other resources out there as well. So just have a chat to your Enterprise Coordinator and they can help you with anything around that. So just to finish, a quick quiz. What does an Enterprise Coordinator stand for? Can you remember? Oh, I've just given you the answer. What does an EC stand for? Enterprise Coordinator. There you go. I gave you an early one there. What is Gatsby Benchmark for? Can you remember what is Gatsby Benchmark for? And the answer is careers in the curriculum, seen as the hardest Gatsby benchmark to hit. It's all about getting whole school buy-in from each of the curriculum leads to get careers featured in different lessons, as well as in the PSHE programme. How many Gatsby benchmarks in Hertfordshire are we currently hitting out of 8? And the answer is just over 5 out of 8. Can you name a role of an enterprise advisor? So in this new role that you're going to be doing, really exciting, lots of opportunities to get involved and make a real difference. But what are some of the roles you would be doing? So yes, you'd be championing careers, building that relationship with the senior leadership, opening up your business networks, giving strategic input, being a business expert, helping with evaluating the Gatsby benchmarks, being that critical friend, and then as and where you want to get involved with some delivery as well, if you would like to do that. So by assessing the Gatsby benchmarks, how long does that audit take? 20 to 30 minutes, yes, that's the answer. And can you name a skill from the Hertfordshire Skills Framework, which is on Hertfordshire Opportunities portal? And here's the answer to that. You've got motivation, ambition, confidence, respect and good manners, determination and resilience, adaptability and teamwork. And then you've got numeracy, literacy, business and customer awareness, analytical and problem solving, digital technology skills, and then your overall qualifications. So thank you ever so much for joining us today. I hope to see you getting involved in the network, see you at workshops, see you at school meetings. I'd advise you to read up on safeguarding, look at the Memorandum of Understanding and send that through to myself and your Enterprise Coordinator. In this role, you'll need to have a short DBS check. So we need you to provide 3 examples of ID, such as passport, driving licence and a utility bill in your name for the last 3 months to get you up and running. Have a look on our Hertfordshire Opportunities portal website and the Careers and Enterprise Company website. And then National Head Office will send you through some short little coffee break videos with careers insights for England. And we'll obviously be inviting you along to our events, which we'll be really looking forward to seeing you at. This is what the Memorandum of Understanding looks like. If you could just take a moment to fill one of those out and send it through, we'd be very, very appreciative. And this is an idea of some of the videos you'll see. So you've already seen the welcome from Ollie. You'll hear a little bit about the network, a little bit about best practice and the current careers landscape, and then a little bit around the tools and how to get you through this incredible journey as being an enterprise advisor. We tend to run networking events. They're quite often around October, March and June. So I'll ask your Enterprise Coordinator for an invite to one of those. And then we tend to run Gatsby benchmark workshops, usually October, November, January, March, June time. So it'd be great to see you at 2 or 3 of those events a year, as well as meeting with your school a few times a year as well. So really, really happy to have you on board to help you write the story for every young person, to help them find their next best step. Your experience really does matter, and you can really help schools and colleges shape their futures through their careers programs and helping every young person find their next best step. So thank you ever so much. We're really looking forward to working with you, and we'll see you soon.